Hello, welcome to a new video I'd like to call my, add this up to down, my top 10 Back to the Future mistakes. Now I don't hate the Back to the Future movies. In fact, I love the Back to the Future movies. The first one's probably my all-time favorite movie, and it's the first one's my all-time favorite movie, and under the original Star Wars trilogy, it's probably my favorite trilogy. Um, but the first Back to the Future movie is superb. Um, you probably know the thoughts of mine and the thoughts of most anyone around the world about Back to the Future. I've never met a person who doesn't like Back to the Future. I've met people who don't like Citizen Kane, Godfather, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I've never met a person that didn't like Back to the Future. But since it's a time travel movie, there are bound to be mistakes and plot holes. Now, with the exception of one other ones, these are original plot holes that I've picked up myself. The other one I thought, I just needed to be on the list. I don't know. But anyway, I'll go right into it without further ado. I'd say, my real top 10 Back to the Future movie mistakes. Of course, this is kind of a thing that's been going around with Back to the Future fans, starting with Matamation, and then a few other people have done it. So that's why I'd say I give away my number 2 isn't that original. But without further ado, I'll go right into it. Number 10. Why didn't Doc tell Marty about the accident that he was going to get in 1985 by him and Jennifer with his Toyota truck running into the Rolls Royce? Ultimately, because he was racing a bunch of gangs, if you've seen the third movie, and it's a big pivotal moment in the second movie, he breaks his hand in a drag race with his buddies, I guess kind of like rivals. Needles is kind of like Marty's bit. And him and that gang crash in this reality. In the new timeline, they miss it because Marty finds out in the third movie. But why didn't Doc tell Marty in the first place? Now I'll tell you why. I mean, you might say, oh, because Doc didn't want to destroy the space-time continuum. He didn't want to have bad effects on the future by not letting the future planet play out as it's supposed to. But the thing is, this ruins Marty's life, okay? I mean, his life is down the toilet, Biff says, and because of his life, his in another timeline, Marty's kids go to jail, and which they fix in part 2. But it's just Marty's life isn't that good. And you think Doc would do this as a friend, telling him, hey Marty, don't let people call you chicken. And I'll tell you why. Because Marty did it for Doc. Marty saved Doc's life by telling him he was going to get shot by Libyans. He stopped Doc's life from going down the toilet. Do you think Doc could have done the same thing for Marty? You'd think because he's a friend, why not tell him that his life could go down the toilet if he crashes into a Rolls Royce in a drag race by, someone calling him chicken needles. I don't know. It's you'd think that. That's what I would think. I mean, it would have saved. I mean, Marty finds out later. I mean, and it turned out to be a good thing. So Doc could have saved a lot of trouble. Could have saved the events of Part 2 from happening just by telling Marty this incident. It would have prevented them the need to go to 2015. It would have prevented them the need to stop Griff from putting Marty Jr. in jail. It would have saved a lot of trouble. But hey, at least we got a great movie, Part 2, great movie. So I'm glad it happened, but if you think about it logically, it shouldn't have happened. Why did Doc make... Let me see, I can't remember. Why did Doc make life and... Okay, why did Doc make a life in 1885? why does he interact with the people of 1885? I know Doc loves the Wild West. I know he finds the girl of his dreams in the Wild West. I know he starts a family in the Wild West. But it seems kind of contradictory. I mean, he makes the life in the Wild West in 1885. And you might think, well, what's the bad thing about it? Doc's happy. First of all, it contradicts one major thing in the first movie. Marty interacting with people in 1955. Doc was like, well, Marty, you shouldn't even leave this house. It's dangerous for you to be here in 1955. You shouldn't interact with anyone because it could have consequences of the future. I mean, don't you think that rule would apply to 1885? The Doc shouldn't interact with anybody in 1885. He could, and he does in a way. That's what causes the events of Part 3. He could cause dangerous stuff to happen to him or the future, by, through him or the future by interacting with people and making a life, a job as a blacksmith in the Wild West. Uh, I mean, why couldn't Marty, hang or talk to people in 1955? It's contradictory. Doc should follow his own rules. Doc shouldn't have made a life in 1885 if Marty wasn't allowed to really talk to anybody in 1955 because it could have consequences. But that's just me. Alrighty. Second page here. Okay. How did Doc know Marty was going to be... Okay, in the end of Part 3, this is the 8th one, by the way. In the end of Back to the Future Part 3, Marty, takes Jennifer to the wreckage of the DeLorean. Marty looks around and, says the Doc's never coming back. And Doc comes back in time with a brand spanking new time machine, which is another thing I'll get to later. But Doc, how did Doc know Marty was going to be there at that exact same time? I mean, he says he went and got Einstein. I mean, Einstein is there, and he knew Marty was going to be there? How? I mean, maybe as a time machine, and maybe in the future he asked, Jennifer what Marty and them did, and so he's like, oh, I know when that is, but that seems kind of convoluted and could risk the timeline being all weirded out, but anyway, how did Doc know Marty was going to be in the exact spot he was at the end of Part 3? How did he know he's going to be at the wreckage at that time? How did he know where the wreckage was going to be? I mean, how did he know Marty was going to destroy the time machine by it getting hit by a train? How did Doc know Marty was going to be at that exact point? I mean, a train track is really wrong. Marty could have stopped anywhere, but I don't know. And even if he did know, he must have stopped there. How did he know the time? It's a plot hole, but again, it's a great ending for Part 3. Why did they stay after? Okay. Now, again with Part 3, I know I'm kind of picking on Part 3 here, but anyway, at the end of Part 3, they stopped Mad Dog from shooting Doc and Marty. And then they go on a train. The train hits the DeLorean, which they will release Marty anyways. Doc Clara intervenes for Doc, making him not able to make it, but which is another plot I'll get to later. But Marty, the train pushes Marty into the future. Now this thing caused a lot of danger, and danger is what makes Back to the Future good. But why did... I mean, this almost killed Clara and Doc. Why did they do this? And I'll tell you why should they have not done this? Why did they do this after Mad Dog went to jail? The whole reason them wanting to catch the train to go back to the future is the possibility of Mad Dog shooting either Doc or Marty. But with Mad Dog put in jail in Part 3, and the risk of them getting shot and them resolving that conflict of them getting shot, you think they would want to use a less dangerous idea of going back to the future. You would think, why couldn't they wait another day? Why? I mean, this also would have saved the Clara Clayton thing. I mean, why did they stay? Why didn't they stay after Mad Dog got stopped from shooting Doc or Marty? And Mad Dog went to jail. There is no rush to go back to the future. There is no danger. They could have solved a much better plan, a much safer plan. They could have been able to fix the gas pump. Doc, so it'd take a month to repair. They were in no rush. They wouldn't have been in the need to rush if Mad Dog was in jail. Their lives wouldn't be in danger anymore. And the only reason they rushed to that idea is, they need to get out of there as soon as possible because Doc was going to get shot in a couple days. I don't know, a little plot hole, but it's still a great scene. Marty could have Danger Dog. Now this one's an interesting one. Okay, so at the end of part 2, and in the beginning of part 3, Marty's like, there's only one person that could help me after Doc. DeLorean gets struck by lightning, sent back to 1885. Doc writes him a letter, but Marty's like, well, Doc tells Marty where in the letter where the DeLorean is and how to fix it. But Marty goes to the Doc of 1955 at the end. It's a great ending and a great beginning for part 2 and 3. But you would think, wait a minute. By Marty showing up to Doc, it could have endangered Doc, and I'll tell you why. Remember the letter in part 3? Part 1, Doc was like, what the heck? The letter that Marty writes Doc telling him, you're gonna get shot by terrorists. And then later that day, it's kind of similar to the number 10 spot. But later that time in the movie, we see that Doc was like, oh, what the heck? I made a bulletproof vest, I taped up your letter, and I understand what you're trying to tell me, I was going to get shot. But by Marty showing up in 1955 before Doc has that idea, kind of shows him and says that Doc is alive in the letter, that he is going to live. You'd think Doc wouldn't have the need would think that. It's like, oh, I'm alive in 1885 anyway, I'm going to live till 1885. I'm gonna go to 1885. I probably don't need to know what happens to me. I probably don't need to know what Marty was trying to tell. The first Marty was trying to tell me in the letter. That easily could have happened, and that easily could have made Doc decide not to tape up the letter, and thus him getting shot in 1985. So, yeah, but again. Okay, destroying the DeLorean was useless. Not only was it sad to see that cool car get smashed into smithereens, it was pointless. It was. Now, first of all, again, Marty accidentally destroyed it. He had nowhere to go off the train tracks. He didn't actually mean to destroy it. But it's said many times in part 2 and part 3, the DeLorean has to be destroyed. That's Doc saying, Marty, go to 1985 and destroy the time machine. And even at the end, Marty's like, well, Doc, the machine is destroyed. But we see Doc come back in a time machine. Now, not only is that contradictory, but why did Marty need to destroy the time machine if Doc was going to build a new one? Huh? I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just why. I mean, Doc could have. It was use. It's. I'll tell you why it's useless. Even from a logical, a marketing standpoint, because the DeLorean is so iconic. And yeah, I know they're not going to make any more movies, but the rush to destroy it and replaced by this train, which does look cool, but it's not ever going to be as iconic as the DeLorean. Even if they made 4 and 5 with that, you know, even in the game they knew they had to go back to the DeLorean. Even if you count the game as canon, that was pointless destroying the time machine because there's a copy of the DeLorean Doc finds, I think in 1955, he says in the game, if you count the game canon. So even the game knew that they can't use the train. The train is cool, but it's not the DeLorean. You know, the DeLorean is, you know, as iconic as something like the Millennium Falcon. You know, you're not. I mean, the Star Wars prequels. One of the reasons why they weren't the same is because they didn't have the Millennium Falcon to feel like you're in Star Wars. You know, they had other ships, which were, I mean, the Nabooian Starfighter thing would never be as iconic as the Millennium Falcon. But anyway, that's another story. But what I'm saying is the DeLorean's like that. The train's not going to be as iconic as the DeLorean, and by making the train, destroying something as iconic as the DeLorean is pointless, even from a marketing standpoint and a story standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, why would Doc risk fulfilling his Okay, so there is a theory out there called the Back to the Future, I think homicidal Doc theory, that he was trying to kill him and Marty on the first test by having the DeLorean come at them. But Doc didn't know that this was going to be successful. That's why Doc is all shocked. I mean, what do you think? What? Why? I mean, okay, that's kind of another thing I could write down. But anyway, why would Doc risk Marty's life? I mean, for the time machine. I guess Doc was trying to sow competency, or maybe he really was almost trying to kill Marty. But if you watch the first Back to the Future movie, nothing Doc made has ever been successful. Which again is another contradiction, because you see a lot of other inventions in the beginning of the movie that seem to work fine, except for maybe the burning toast. But none of what Doc's inventions have have never worked. Which would be fascinating to see what else Doc has tried to build in his lifetime that failed. So with that in mind, there is a pretty big chance that the DeLorean could have not worked. And when Doc was like, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious, you know what? That could have killed them both, because there's a good probability that Doc knew that that was not gonna work, because apparently that was the first thing he made that worked. So why did he risk their lives? And also he seemed shocked by it. So maybe the homicidal Doc theory is true, but I don't know. Okay, what happened to alternate Marty? Now this one is kind of used a lot by people. It's not really that original, but if you think about it, what really did happen to alternate Marty? You know, Okay, so Marty comes back from the Lone Pine. I mean, not. Marty comes back from 1955 to an alternate 1985. It is the timeline has the Lone Pine Mall. This timeline, his parents are rich. His dad is not a nerd, but a competent writer, a successful writer. His brother's got seems like a good easy job, sitting at behind a desk with a suit and tie now at Burger King. I mean, the life is good. But the thing is, if all that was different, that means Marty must have been different. Now that and that timeline was already existed, because you could say, well, Once Marty went back in time, that's when the timeline changed. But when you see Marty witness the events earlier in the first movie, he's standing from the Lone Pine Mall, not the Twin Pine Mall. So that shows that it is in a different universe of 1985, even before Marty goes back in time. So the question is, what happened to alternate Marty? Did he go to 1955 and change the timeline again? Did Doc send him? Did Doc kill him by sending him up to do like the dinosaur age? Who knows? But what what happened to that Marty? Okay, and my number one thing. Now this one has always kind of bugged me in part 3, even when I was a kid. And it kind of makes me wish Doc and Clara would have ended up in the DeLorean in time to go back to 1985, because it would have avoided this plot hole. Did Doc go to jail? Because think about it. Doc stole, robbed, and destroyed a train. He robbed a train. He is a train robber. They hang people back then for robbing trains. They even hanged Mad Dog, not for killing people, but for robbing the Pine City stage. Doc robbed a train. So Doc ends up staying because him and Clara couldn't make it back in time to the DeLorean, from the train to the DeLorean at the end of Back to Future Part 3 in that great climax. But did Doc have to spend some time in jail? Think about it. I mean, even if he probably, if you think about it, could have gotten the death penalty. Uh, but, you know, the death penalty was really strict back then, because for robbing something, you would get hanged. I mean, did Doc spend some time in jail? He must have spent some time in jail. I mean, because the train guy, you know, he survives. I mean, he didn't just run away. I'm assuming he went back to the town, and even there's evidence of the wreckage. So does that mean Doc? I mean, Doc must have went to jail. And if that's so, I mean, he must be considerably. I mean, Doc is in his 70s. I mean, Christopher Lloyd, I know, was in his, I think, late 40s in the first movie, in his early 50s in the second and third movie playing Doc, but the character of Doc is supposed to be 70 years old. So, let's say, I don't know how long a robbery of a train is. Let's say a couple years, and plus a couple years growing up your children. So does that mean Doc is like 85 when he comes back to Marty? He looks exactly the same. I mean, I guess in part 2, in the beginning, he's like, they added a lot of years to my life, and he takes out the thing and he looks exactly the same. But, so Doc doesn't look like he's 87, 88 years old there. I don't know. It's just weird, because Doc must have spent time in prison. He destroyed property. He robbed a train. He destroyed the property that was a train. He put people's lives at risk. The thing was expensive, so he had to have gone to jail. I mean, people put you in jail for, you know, vandalizing a window, let alone destroying a train. I don't know. But that's my number one theory. Now, I love Back to the Future, but these are just some things that I've noticed. The number one has always bothered me when I was a kid. I wish Marty does go back to 1985 from 1885. But that's why I wish Clara and Doc would have made it, because it would have made more sense. I mean, yeah, we wouldn't have got that really sweet ending, you know, your future's whatever you make it, and it plays that cool music and all that, but I guess Doc is considerably old. I don't know. I guess Doc went to jail. I don't know. Did Doc go to jail? He must have went to jail. He could have gotten I mean, maybe he broke out of jail. I mean, who's to assume that his kids? I don't know. That's just the plot. I mean, yeah. So that's my list of my top 10 Back to the Future mistakes. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun making it, and I know I've been absent from YouTube for a really long time, but yeah. So that's all I have to say. Lopez Power Lopez signing out.